What's up, world? Welcome back to another episode of Authentically Us, the podcast where we talk about what it means to be authentic in everything that you do, in every space that you occupy. Hey, give us a review, give us a rating, share us. We're thankful for you guys. We're also thankful for MSW Media. Take a look at their platform. They have a bunch of great podcasts, as well as us on the podcast. And I'm ConRoy. I'm one of the hosts, and we got my main man, your main man, everybody's man. Not really, but Tony Morton on the pod. Tony, say what's up to the people, man.
Yo, what is going on? As y'all know, I'm here, so hopefully you're not tired of me, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm here.
Let's
go.
He's here. Hey, y'all, we got another episode, because this is another Real Talk. So we got another Real Talk coming at you guys today. And we got an awesome topic. So let's get into it. Tony, what are we talking about today?
The black card.
Ooh.
Yes.
This is a heated topic.
Yes. Heated and honestly, a source of trauma. For many black folk. So yeah. Conroy, when do you feel like you first earned your black card?
Oh, when I first earned my black card? Man, that's a great question. I don't know if there was a moment where I'm like, oh, I earned my black card, because I'm dark skinned. So it was like there was no way around it, right? I think and I'm an athlete, so I kind of fit the stereotype, a black person who's good at sports, especially in our hometown. I think I got a lot of like being like an Oreo, like black on the outside and white on the inside, because I was educated. But I don't necessarily know if there was a time where I'm like, I earned my black card, but I can think of specific moments when my family members essentially took away my black card.
All right.
Yeah, like specifically, I remember I used to play soccer like in elementary school. Maybe, I don't know. I just remember we had red jerseys. Yeah, it was elementary school. And my cousin was like, black people don't play soccer? What are you doing playing soccer? And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I shouldn't play soccer anymore. So then I like ended up stopped playing soccer. But like there's a whole country, a whole continent of soccer players in Africa that are like really good. And it's like, I don't know. It was just a weird thing. Yeah, I remember that vividly. Like, black people don't play soccer. I know exactly where I was, what I was wearing, and like how confused I was about like black people not playing soccer. What about you? When do you feel like you've earned your black card?
Oh, man, I honestly feel like my whole life I've been fighting to keep my black card.
Wow.
Not now necessarily, because I've kind of done away with the black card. But I remember sitting down with my pops and him like telling me what a man was and how to, beat someone up and like stand your ground. And for y'all that know me, I'm not a fighter. Never have been, never will be. But I tried. I tried out of a desire to earn my black card. But like I've always felt like people were trying to take my black card from me, from my dad saying like, "Oh, you talk too white. What you doing playing board games with people? Like, stop. Like, you are black, remember?" and like all these things. And, you know, I would have white friends say to me, my calves are bigger than yours and I'm white, and like things like that. And so, you know, I often, even now, like when I'm in a group of black people that I don't know well, I feel like this imposter syndrome because I'm not, I don't feel like I'm enough for that group. And so I feel like that's something I'm always like trying to wrestle with and be confident in. But I remember listening to a Maverick City song, um, Brown Skin, it was called. Um, and they have a line saying, you're black because you have African written in your DNA. And like, since hearing that, I've stood on that truth of like, what makes someone worthy of their black card is not what they do or don't do. It's, do they have African in their DNA? And if so, they're enough to be black. Um, like I I I just don't know why we have these arbitrary relative standards for what blackness is, especially in our own community. Like, life is hard enough for black people to get by. Why are we being traumatized with these microaggressions from our own community? Just
Yeah.
let us be black and proud, whatever that looks like.
Mm. Yeah. First of all, shout out to Alton Eugene for writing that song "Brown Skin." Um, and you know what? You said something that I think is so important about being black and whatever that looks like. Because I think about, I guess the typical thing people think about black people are like loud or like thugs or athletes and all this stuff. And that literally puts us in boxes. And I think we as a culture are so much more. We can be millionaires. We can also be the best at chess. We can also be neuroscientists. We can also be astronauts. It's like I know so many different versions of black people that I think has definitely changed my viewpoint on the black card. But it's also like it's like black people play too much, and that's the problem. Like we be playing too much, where it's like we're trying to take somebody's black card. Oh, have you seen Friday? No, I haven't seen that. Oh, you ain't black. It is just like we just play too much.
Right.
And do you know how to play spades? No, I don't know how to play spades. Oh,
Nope.
then your black card is revoked.
Yeah.
And it's just like I think some of it is harmless. I think some of it can be detrimental, especially for people like I'm assuming like you because you're mixed, right? And having that feeling of not being able to fit in with your black friends or your white friends. But I think it can be traumatic, but I also think it is like a part of our culture that where we play too much, first of all, and we like to have fun, we like to have joy, and it's like if you haven't seen Sister Act, oh well, you need to watch it. It's like just getting us like putting us on, but I think how we can change that is instead of like little things like do you know how to play spades or not? Do you know how to play dominoes or not? It's like your black card should be revoked if you don't know what Juneteenth is at this point. Like let's start making it educational. Like let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about some of these things that all black people should know because this is our history and this is why we are starting from behind.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's something we can kind of help. I think that's a narrative that we can change.
Right. And like I don't even think it should be like, oh, you haven't heard Juneteenth, let's revoke your black card. But like, oh, how haven't you heard this? Let me help you.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, what, wow, you're right. Black people play way too much. um, like words also have power, and so those little jokes, when heard enough, start to become beliefs that we have in our psyche of like, oh wow, like I don't fit this box. So maybe I'm not black. Maybe I'm a sellout. Maybe I'm betraying my kind. Like all of these things, and it's not helpful. And so we can play around all we want about thousands of other things, but let's pay attention to the words we're using towards each other. And even if it's jokes, words got power, man. Like,
Yeah.
you have one person that you looked up to joking about how you're not black enough. That could stick with you for decades. Like,
Yeah.
even my pops, like every time he would, say, "Oh, you're too white," like he would always be joking and poking fun, but like those comments, when heard enough, cause an identity crisis. And like, well, I want to be black, so now I had to fit this mold, and I'm not being authentic. Like
Yeah.
I think of junior high, and you can totally put me on blast, Conroy. But like, Tyler and I always joke. Tyler didn't like me because I dressed like a thug. I had my pants were sagging. Like, I was trying to act straight gangster. I wasn't. I was looking crazy, but I was so desperate to fit this mold of blackness that I would do anything regardless of if it felt authentic to me or not.
Yeah. You're right. Those words do have power. And you know what? You said something earlier about how we say certain black people are sellouts. And the hard part about that is you're right. Black people can be whatever they want. I think, like you said, if you have African in your DNA, you have African written. Like another hard thing to think about is that like if the police pull us over, like, and you're mixed, you're black, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's like it and that's kind of the harsh reality of the United States. But then I think about like, I guess I have a hard time with it because I think about people like Candace Owens, right? And you get somebody who is almost like anti-black, but even in her right, she is still a black woman. So when people see her, she's a black woman who just has kind of like far left viewpoints that not necessarily every black person thinks of.
Right.
But in her right, she's still black,
Yeah,
know? And it's not like
absolutely.
we're taking away her black card because you can't.
No. No. And she's just not speaking for the culture. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. And you also said something about like, dressing a certain way. And I think what I love about being black, right, is that we are trendsetters. Like we make everything look cool. And like if I see a black person who is like super into Pokemon, it just looks cool. It just looks cooler. I don't know why, but I just think it looks cooler. And I think about how I remember there's a photo of me. I'm wearing these super huge. I had like a black shorts and I have a red long tees. Remember that song back in the day, like Yep, in my white tee, right?
Yes.
Everybody was wearing these long tees, and I had
Yes.
this like split black and white do-rag, but it was
Yep.
just like, and I had a headband on, like Nelly and them, and it was just
Yes.
like, it wasn't necessarily that I was like we were trying to be gangster, because you're not going to be gangster in Chambersburg, right?
Nope.
But it was like, that's just the culture, and I liked it because it looked cool. Like, they made it look cool. It was like I was trying to be anything else. I'm like, this is cool right now, and I like it, and I just think we have a way. I think black people are so powerful. I think we are beautiful no matter what shade. And I love that we're in this era of acknowledging our greatness, our beautiful. Like, women are now wearing their natural hair, or doing just different hairstyles, protective hairstyles. It's okay to wear your tribal colors and make it trendy. So essentially, I just love where we're going. I think they're about the whole black card revoked thing. We just play too much.
Right.
And we just need to be conscious of our words, because words do have power.
Yep. Speaking of black people and making things look cool, shout out to Dr. Purvis. Bruh. Flyest man I've ever met.
Let them know who Dr. Purvis was.
Bruh. Dr. Purvis was our high school principal, but kid you not, no matter what the weather, this man had a full-on suit, blue, purple, yellow, like whatever color, head to toe. He was fly.
Like, think Steve
fly.
Harvey, but like high school principal.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I had to give him a shout out.
Yeah, you know what? He went to my church growing up, and yeah. You know what's funny is he didn't dress like that at church, but that has nothing to do with it. But
What?
yeah, he just dressed normal at church. But I just think we make things look cool. We make things trendy, and I think you said something that we can. I think the fact that black people are in every single part of life. We're in rock music. We're in country music. We're in Pokemon cards. We're in tech. I just think it's a really cool thing, because that wasn't always the case.
Right.
We did a recent episode on Juneteenth and July 4th, and how once Juneteenth happened, we weren't completely free. We were still segregated, and you're right, we were playing from behind. So the fact that now we are in every area, most areas, I think that's progress, and that's really cool. And like, let that black person, let that black nerd be a black nerd. Let that black athlete be a black athlete. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I think the best version is for us to just be authentically who we are in our skin.
Yes. And let that be enough.
Let that be enough. You don't need to take that away.
No. And if you're listening, you've always struggled with, not just am I black enough, but am I whatever enough in regards to race? Like, you are. Like, if you have it written in your DNA, that's your card. And ain't no one changing your DNA, so you stuck with it, good, bad, right, or wrong. That's who you are.
Yeah.
And let's celebrate that and take your culture into every area that you occupy and be authentically you.
And learn about it. I think learning about culture, I think, is a huge thing, because we didn't. Well, I didn't. I didn't learn about my culture. I'm still learning, right? I took a 23andMe a couple years ago, just see like where I'm really from, and there's still a whole Africa side I want to learn about. I want to go to where my ancestors are from, and I think that would be a cool thing. I think that'll be another thing to add to this quote unquote black card, is like learning about your heritage, maybe even going to see, if you have the means to go and see like where your ancestors are from, being in the motherland. I had a chance to go to Kenya, and there was nothing like it. Like, there's nothing like being around people who look like you. I remember we went to the market, right? I went on this missions trip. This is a quick story. I went on this missions trip, and I was with a bunch of white people, and I love white people. We love white people.
Yeah, we do.
But at the market, they go up to white people because they're like, "Oh, you have money because you're white and American. You have money. You have money. You have money." They didn't come to me because I looked like them until I talked, and they're like, "Oh, now I know you have money because you sound American." But it was just cool to be like, "I'm one of y'all for 2 minutes until I say something." So it was cool to feel that belonging, because like there's places here that you don't. Like, we also had Richard Bailey on our podcast. Shout out to the mayor of Coronado. He's great. I went to Coronado on the 4th of July, Tony. I kid you not. I don't think I saw one black person. Well, actually, I did. I saw a couple families. But it's just a very white area, mostly because of how much it costs. And that's just facts, right? And it's not like I feel like I belong there as much as I felt like I belonged in the market in Kenya. And that's just how it is,
Yeah. I mean, you always say to me, anytime I see black people, I get happy. I mean,
you do.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
What's also staying on the swivel of like, who else is in here?
Yes. And what's also crazy is I feel like we have this innate, maybe it might just be Americans. We have this innate, at least I do. Let me recant that. I have this innate, not pressure, but thing. Like, anytime I go to a new place, like recently I've been going to some acting classes, guys, so this is really cool. But I'm like one of 2 black people so far, the classes I've been to, and it's almost like you just start to conform. And it's like, why do I have that natural tendency to conform to the area I'm in, whether that's let me tone down my blackness or let me not be too flashy or whatever. And it's like, I want to get to a place where I don't care. And I just think, especially where we came from, we do it so much that it's a superpower and a curse at all the same same stint. So
yeah, and again, that is the journey of what it means to be authentically us. Like, we're not experts at being authentic, and so this is why we have this podcast. We are on this journey, and we want y'all to come with us as we figure this stuff out.
Yep. And honestly, each and every episode, I get a chance to learn. Like that question we ask each guest: what does it mean to be authentically who you are? And when they tell us their answer, I'm like, wow, okay. That's another piece of information I can take to get one step closer to authentically me.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. We've been doing this now for a year. What does it mean for ConRoy to be authentically ConRoy?
I think it is a never-ending journey. The more and more we have these episodes, the more and more I think about what I do. I think what it means to be authentically who I am is when I go to spaces that I'm uncomfortable with, is being me and not seeing like, oh crap, what is everybody else doing? What is everybody else wearing? How does everybody else talk? And then also places that I'm already been in for years, like just bringing my full self. So I think this journey of being authentically who I am is a journey of figuring out like the true ConRoy, like not the one who puts on a show because that's what I do maybe at work. But like, who am I in my natural state? I like Jordans, you know, I like jewelry. I like music. I like these things, and like bringing that all in, you know. One thing we talked about in acting class was like, I asked him a question like, what are you looking for like as a director when you're looking at auditions? He's like, I'm just looking for the truth. And I was like,
Wow.
yeah, same. And I think about my life. I'm just looking for the truth. Every area, everything I step into, I'm looking for the truth and ConRoy's truth.
That's real good, man. Real good.
What about you, Tony? What does it mean?
Cool.
You know, we've been doing this for a year. What does it mean for you to be authentically you?
Yeah, man. I think what it means to be authentically me is to take all the aspects that I was ashamed of at one point in my life. My disability, my biracialness, in my father wounds even, and carry those into spaces and not care about how I'm talking or, you know, do people think I'm too black or too white? Like, and like you said, just fully being me, not caring at all what people think, and just have fun. That's what it means for me.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Thank you guys for coming on this journey. Continue to come on this journey with us. Another great episode of Real Talks. I really like these, Tony.
Oh yeah, they're fire.
I really like those. And if you guys like these too, please let us know. Maybe any topics you want us to talk about, go into our link tree. You can support us there. We have merch. You can also financially support us so we can keep doing these things. And we have some things coming. But until next time, y'all, be authentic in everything that you do. Peace.
Peace out.